Hey guys, so today's video is just going to be a quick little update of just everything that's been going on. I was thinking about doing this on Instagram stories, but I get so many comments over here on my main channel about why I am not posting a ton anymore over here. And honestly, the pregnancy that I am going through right now has just been a whirlwind. I do a lot of pregnancy updates on my Life of Maddie channel, so if you guys want to keep up to date with that, feel free to subscribe over there. I'm definitely going to be doing another one here very soon. But I wanted to update you guys here on my main channel to kind of explain why videos are probably going to be a little sparse from here on out. So basically this past Saturday, today is Tuesday, September 22nd. But this past Saturday, I went for a walk at the mall with Joel and Riley. You know, we wanted to get out of the house. We wanted to walk around. And when I got home, this might be TMI for anyone, but I saw my underwear filled with blood. So as you guys know, with this pregnancy, I have a cervical polyp that's in the middle of my cervix that is keeping it open, so I am partly dilated. And the cervical polyp can cause bleeding throughout the pregnancy, and it caused bleeding at 7 weeks and 8 weeks. So I even did like a threatened miscarriage ultrasound at 7 weeks to see everything was okay, because I did have a miscarriage the past December. And so we went through all of that and everything ended up being fine, and it's just a cervical polyp. So when I got home and I saw this, I was like, crap. Like, the amount that I saw freaked me out. And the fact that it didn't stop freaked me out. I am still bleeding to this day, and today is Tuesday, and this happened on Saturday. Usually whenever I had a bleeding episode with cervical polyp, it was just one instance of bleeding, and then the rest of the day it would taper off and be completely gone. This one's lingering like it's a full period. So bleeding this much is definitely very nerve-wracking right now. And on Saturday when I saw that it wasn't stopping and how much it was, I was really scared. I thought I was losing her. And because I was like, this is nothing to what I experienced at 7 and 8 weeks. So I tried calling my OBGYN's office and I couldn't get a hold of anyone. I was literally like, it was just ringing and on like their little music thing for 30 minutes. I finally tried to call a different number and I had the other one on hold. And finally someone answered and I got an operator, and she basically, all she could do is just page a triage nurse for me to have them call me back in 30 minutes or so. And I was just like, I don't want to sit here and wait for 30 minutes to an hour for a phone call from someone. I go, where do I go? I'm not sure where I actually go to for this. Like, do I go to the ER? Like, what building? Where do I go for this? And because, you know, they don't tell you these things. And I never experienced any of this with Riley. So she's like, you would just go to wherever you're going to deliver at. So I was like, okay. So I was like, you can still page the nurse, whatever, but I'm going to the ER. So I went to labor and delivery where I actually delivered Riley at, and they were going to admit me, but the fact that I was not 20 weeks, they could not admit me. So they could only admit you if you are 20 weeks and over. So that's some information for anyone who's going through pregnancy and doesn't know that. So you have to go to the ER. So they wheelchaired me to the ER, and I was able to get in there. And the doctor, I told him everything, all the gist of everything going on. And I told him I do have a cervical polyp, and I go, I am dilated. And he's like, he goes, you're dilated? How do you know? Did you check? And I'm just like, I said, my doctor told me 3 weeks ago at my last appointment that I was already dilated. So he's like, okay. So I go, I was already told this. So this made me like very nervous. So he goes, well, usually in this situation, we would just give you an ultrasound, but with you telling me all these other things, he goes, we definitely should be doing an exam to check everything. And I was like, okay. So I got into a gown. They wheeled me to the ultrasound room. They gave me a tech, and the tech was really sweet, but he is a trainee. So he had it was just horrible. You just couldn't like get the proper measurements. And I understand that people need to train. I totally get that. But when you are in a situation that you think that you're losing your baby, it's probably not the best person to train on. That's all I have to say, because the anxiety level and the stress that I was going through, and then having him sitting there basically doing an anatomy scan on the baby, was just a nightmare. And I was just like, turn the screen, let me see it myself. I don't know ultrasounds like very well, but I have watched a ton of videos and I've read a lot of articles on them just of things to look for myself because I know they can never tell you anything. So I've always done this even when I was pregnant with Riley. Like I did this before her anatomy scan. I did a lot of research and I did the same thing before my miscarriage one so I could just find things to look for. And my biggest thing was just looking to see that there was a heartbeat, and there was. So she was still in there, still moving like crazy and everything. So he did his measurements, but he couldn't really get the proper measurements of anything. So he actually had to call in someone else to do it for him. This was already after an hour. I had to go pee so bad. So they brought in someone else. They kind of finished things up and he was kind of training him. So that was another thing. I was like, just want out of here and I just want to know everything is okay because you guys can't tell me anything. So they finally finished, wheeled me back to my room. I went to the bathroom, still was bleeding, came back and waited there forever to see the doctor. A nurse came in. She was like, okay, I'm getting ready to get you discharged. And I'm like, discharge? I go, I haven't even spoken to the doctor about my ultrasound yet. And he's supposed to do an exam. She's like, oh, she goes, let me go get him. I don't know what he's been doing. She goes, he should have already been in here. And so she goes and gets the doctor. He comes in. He's like, okay, your stuff looks perfectly normal. And da-da-da. I was like, I go, so the placenta, everything looks great. Like there's no abruption. There's nothing going on there. No, nothing. And he's like, no, everything looks great. Like he goes, and I go, well, are you going to do an exam? He goes, no, I don't really need to. Just, follow up with your doctor. Like kind of just like pushed it aside. That was it. Pushed it aside. I felt like even when I was sitting in that waiting room and I was kind of like people watching, I felt like I was watching like the nurses and the doctors and stuff reminded me of kids that were going to and from class at a high school. Anyways, I can just say that I'm probably going to avoid the ER at all costs from here on out just because I just felt like it was very unprofessional. I felt like they wasn't proactive enough. I felt like they just want to push you out and really not do anything. Like they were just hanging out. That's what I got from my experience. I'm sure not every ER is that way, but the one that I went to, it felt like that and I just was not a fan of it at all. So anyways, basically went home, relaxed. I got an email of my ultrasound results because remember he said everything was fine. Got an email of my ultrasound results through my app that I have with my doctors. So I get all like test results and all notes and everything and summaries of every visit there. It makes it so easy. So I'm looking through it and I'm reading it and I'm like, there's a cyst on my left ovary that they saw on my ultrasound. Never was told about that. There is a tiny subchorionic hemorrhage outside of the gestational sac. I read all this and I was just like, they never told me any of this. So then I'm freaking out again. But thank God I already had an appointment with my doctor at 10 a.m. on Monday. So this is Sunday. So I already had that appointment already pre-scheduled anyways to go with like my appointment. So this is with the assistant of my doctor because you don't see my doctor every single time. You see his assistant every so often. And this one, I kind of like sat down with her and I told her, I go, well, this time I go, I was feeling really weak. I was having a horrible migraine. I couldn't sleep all night. I actually took up on Gesta, which you guys know that I don't like because it knocks me out so hard. That's the only way I could fall asleep. And I woke up with the migraine still. I can't, you can't do anything but Tylenol. So I just had to suffer through the migraine and I felt just extremely weak. And I don't know if it was because I was losing blood. And so I basically just like went over, I go, okay, then why did they tell me this? Why? And I made it very clear to them that I did not care for the ER. And I was like, they didn't tell me any of this stuff. So what is going on? What can we do? Like, what's freaking going on right now? Like, I need answers. So basically she's like, the ovarian cyst will probably go away on its own. It's no concern. It might just cause a little bit of pain, but it will probably go away on its own. So I'm like, okay. And then the subchorionic hemorrhage is on the outside of the gestational sac and it's small. So she goes, you probably won't even notice if it bleeds. You probably won't see anything. Like that's not the cause of the bleeding because of how tiny it is. So she goes, that's no concern. What is the concern is the polyp. I told her, I go, I feel like the polyp ruptured. She didn't really say a whole lot to that. I go, do we need to do an exam so you can make sure everything's okay in there? Because I go, I'm bleeding a lot. Like it's like, and also little tissues are coming out. So I don't have a lot of TMI, but this is to help anyone who's ever had a cervical polyp during pregnancy. Because there's like nothing out there on them, nothing. And so she's like, no, unfortunately, an exam is not going to really do anything for us. It's really not. And I go, well, what about a cerclage? Am I going to need that? And she goes, looking at your ultrasound, she goes, your cervix length is 5 centimeters. So she goes, it's very long. So that's really good news. So that's why you're not in a need of a cerclage, even though you are dilated. She goes, the measurements of the baby, completely healthy. Like the ultrasound, everything looks healthy and good because it basically was an anatomy scan. I'm going in for my anatomy scan here in about 3 to 4 weeks when I'm getting closer to that 20-week time. But yeah, so basically she said everything looked healthy. She goes, honestly, from here on out, you need to go on pelvic rest. And I'm like, I've already been on pelvic rest. I go, I have no intercourse. I do not submerge myself into water. I go, I don't really walk at all. Like I just walked at the mall that one day. That was it. But I don't go on walks in my neighborhood anymore. I've already limited a lot of my activity. So I go, it's like, what else am I supposed to do? I go, what's the difference between pelvic rest and bed rest? And she goes, actually, in your case right now, it's basically bed rest. She goes, you do not lift your daughter. You do not do any walking. You just literally lay down. So that is why I'm basically going to be saying I'm on bed rest now because it's really not pelvic rest. It's bed rest. So as you guys can know, having a 2-year-old who is 30 pounds is not the easiest. And Joel travels a ton right now with his work. The problem is that when COVID hit, everything got canceled. Well, now that the racing season is continuing and everything's opening back up, they're trying to fit all these races and all these events into such a short period of time for the rest of the year. So he's gone all the time. Like I'm home alone basically with just me and Riley right now. So my parents have been a very huge help. They're helping me out a ton. Right now with everything, with not being able to lift Riley, like we have a step stool ladder like to her crib so that way she can like climb up into it and climb down. I'm having her hold my hand while she walks down the stairs so I don't have to carry her down the stairs anymore. My dad is now taking her to and from school in the morning, and my mom is picking her up in the afternoons now. So I don't have to lift her in and out of a car seat. So that is basically where we're at now. I'm actually looking to get help, to hire someone to basically help me run errands, help me do things around the house, help me take care of Riley until the night times. I might even have to get someone for like the weekends unless my family can help out on the weekends. But that's where I'm at and it really sucks. It really sucks. So that's why I've been like really MIA these past few days. I've been really just trying to manage my stress levels because I really don't want to be stressed out. And my anxiety with everything. And I've been just really trying to take it easy. So yeah, I mean, what I do for my reassurance right now is I use a Doppler. I bought a new one. I have this other one that I bought with Riley that was like a piece of crap. And I bought another new one. It's a Sonaline or something like that. It's like the one that you actually see at the doctor's and it tells you the heart rate of the baby and everything. So I bought that one and now I can finally hear her. Like even when I went to the doctor's appointment yesterday, I was like, she's going to be right here. I know exactly where she's at. And her heart rate was 152. So, yeah, so it's just going to be a very long pregnancy. Like I told myself, like with my second, like I knew this is going to be my last pregnancy. And before this all went down with all this stuff with the cervical polyp and all that thing, I told myself, I was like, I really want to enjoy this pregnancy. I really want to soak it in and relax and just really take in the experience of it. Because with Riley, I was so busy doing so many things. I never really like really enjoyed it and like soaked it all in. And now this going through this, I'm just like, crap, I just want to not be pregnant anymore. So the stress can be done and I can have her out and I can have her healthy and I can hold her, because it's so stressful. Like, it's so stressful each time you go to the bathroom. That's the biggest thing. Um, so it sucks that I feel like that was kind of like that experience, and enjoying this time has been kind of taken away from me. Um, so that's hard, but at least, like, honestly, she's healthy. They say she's looking great. When we had the ultrasound done on Saturday, she's measuring at 15 weeks, 3 days. So she is doing great. Like, she moves a ton. She moves a ton. She's extremely active, and I can feel her, and that's what's like so reassuring too, is when I get those flutters, I'll be laying back and I'll feel her, and I just know, I'm like, okay, everything's okay. If I ever like get concerned, I just throw the Doppler on and I can find her heart rate really easily now. So it's just been a whirlwind, but that's why I was kind of MIA on Instagram stories, and why I've been kind of MIA on everything. Like, I haven't posted a Tuesday video in a very long time. And I don't know really exactly what I'm going to do from here on out. Like, I am going to try to still do the PR hauls when I can, because I know you guys love those. Like, the Saturdays, and plus I love doing them. That's why I keep doing them, because I love to unbox things. Like, that's like one of my favorite things to do on my channel, which is why it's mainly what you see, is because I want to film stuff that I enjoy and then that I know you guys enjoy. But yeah, so I'm gonna still try to continue those, but I do just have to take it easy with not lifting things and everything. So it's gonna be like who I can get to go get my packages for me, because they're not done to my house, they are done to a UPS mailbox. So it's just gonna just be time, but it's really just gonna come down to how often I can get help and when I need to take my breathers and stuff. So I'm supposed to be really just laying down. I feel like I'm okay sitting. I'm not lifting anything. I'm not moving. I'm okay sitting. So I was also thinking like we could do like vlogs and stuff, like, just stuff that's a little bit more laid back and easier to film just in the meantime, until we can figure things out with everything and see how everything is going. But that is basically the gist of what I've been going through for the past few days. Not talked about it at all in social media. I just figured it was going to be a lot easier just to put it in this video so people can see it, and I'll share it on Instagram. So those who follow me on Instagram can see it, and then those that follow me over here that don't follow me on Instagram can see it too, so I can just update you guys on everything that's been going on. So yeah, I mean, it's a whirlwind. It's definitely a whirlwind, but thank you guys for sitting and listening to everything that is going on with my life and listening to this little update. But yeah, so I will see you guys in my PR haul this Saturday. I should have one. I'm going to be filming it on Thursday, so I should have one. So I will see you guys on Saturday. So see you guys then.